All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our WCW Clash of the Champions review series. This is going to be Clash of the Champions 22. Your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. We got a lot to cover because what the main event was supposed to be, it got changed not only before the event happened, unfolded on this night, but during the night as well. The main event changes. A couple of matches that were changed around due to a suspension and injury. We'll get to that. And this was also Jim Ross's pretty much, I think, is one of his last clash because after this, shortly after, he's gone to WWE. Yep. So well, the next clash is in June, so yeah, he's gone by then because he's at WrestleMania 9. So yeah, it's unfortunate they let him go. He was good in WCW. I like listening to him a lot more than I like listening to Tony Schiavone. And him and him and Ventura rather kind of clicked
I like
a little
Schiavone,
bit.
man. I don't think Schiavone was bad.
Back then he was annoying. When it got to the later time, then he was all right.
I think Jim Ross and Ventura had heat, I think. Because I think Ventura was getting paid. Because he was getting paid more than him or something like that. I could be wrong.
Anyway. It is what it is. Anyway, let's get into it. January 13th, 1993, from the MECCA in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Once again, like I said, JR and Jesse Ventura doing the commentating. JR would be gone shortly after. They kicked off the night with Tony Schiavone interviewing Bill Watts, announcing that his son, Eric Watts, was suspended due to an altercation with Arn Anderson. Yeah, I know. If I can't see a good Eric Watts match, man, I'm going to lose it. Okay, I'm going to calm down now. He even messed up his own interview. I mean, that boy can't do nothing right.
Feel bad for the guy.
Why? Because he couldn't follow in his big man.
It's hard. It's hard, and he had
especially when he's winning it too. Probably
he had a lot of heat with the guys, unfairly because it's it's not his fault. It's his fault is who he is.
Yeah, exactly. He's not his dad. They said that they would get to the bottom of it come WCW Saturday night this coming weekend. And then, of course, Larry Zbyszko interviewed Eric Watts, who botched the interview royally. His match on the Clash was against Cactus Jack. However, with him being out, he would be replaced by Johnny B. Bad.
He was saying that he was innocent. He was like, he's innocent. He didn't do anything. And
okay. Oh no, we don't have an Eric Watts match. Whatever do we do? Well, we opened the night with Johnny B. Bad versus Cactus Jack. Fans are getting behind Cactus Jack these days, and for good reason. I'll get to that in a little bit. If you remember this match, they showed back at Starrcade that these two are no strangers to one another. They would team together in the Battle Bowl Lethal Lottery drawing, and they kind of turned on each other during their match and wound up being eliminated from the competition. So, and this match did not disappoint. It was a little short, but probably so was Eric Watts' original match as well. Johnny B. Bad missed what looked like to be a sunset flip off the top rope on Cactus. Cactus hit his patented elbow on Bad and gets the victory. He's got momentum for later on because this is not going to be the last time we see him on this evening. So, but he does pick up the victory against Johnny B. Bad. Following that, Tony Schiavone had announced that there was a new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. No, it's not Ravishing Rick Rude. Damn it. It is actually the Great Muta, who on January 4th beat Masahiro Chono for the title. Of course, they gave it to Muta, but not Rude. So they were going to show the highlights of the match this upcoming weekend. And with and I think it's just insult to injury that they do this because not only do they announce this, but Rude is out injured and not wrestling.
That's why he gets stripped of the U.S. Championship, right? The injury, and then Flair's on his way back.
To make matters worse, you were the big man for the last 2 years, but the Nature Boy is going to return,
and he's going to get the NWA title.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Well, not at first. The next Clash, he's going to face the Hollywood Blondes. So I mean, not right off is he, but eventually he will get it. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying he's going to get the NWA title, and Rude is never recognized as an NWA champion because
But Flair is
the international. Yeah, or whatever. Story.
It's crap. What are you going to do? But I just thought it was interesting. Like, oh yeah, you're going to announce this tonight on a night where Rude's not here because I could just see Rude coming out and being pissed at that.
Bad luck, man.
First crap. Yes, unfortunately he does.
Bad luck.
Booking too, because obviously Booking did not see him where everybody else like us thinks he should have been at that point.
Well, they did. I mean, they did because he does get the belt. It's just that the NWA
Oh, that
didn't
whole
want him.
nonsense with the legal, whatever.
Then he gets hurt.
That was perfectly
And
timed.
then 94, he gets hurt.
It,
It's just bad. It's just
unfortunately.
bad luck, man.
Well, next match on the card was Too Cold Scorpio with a nice little music video to bring him in versus Scotty Flamingo. So we got Flash Funk versus Raven. And the match is that I'm gonna tell you what, I really did actually enjoy this match. The two high flyers at this point, where Flamingo can still do it at this point before he gets to ECW. Scorpio was always underrated, never utilized right. I'm going to say probably only in ECW, unfortunately, was he used to his potential. Not heavyweight champion material, but unfortunately, he was still used better than the WCW and WWE. And this match, like I said, I really enjoyed it. The high flying that they did, the moves that Scorpio did were just amazing, especially that 360 splash off the top rope on Flamingo, and he gets the victory. So Too Cold is riding a impressive winning streak at this point. So, and this will earn him at the next clash. He will be wrestling for the NWA Championship. That at that time will be held by Barry Windham, not Rick Rude.
Jesus Christ.
We're never going to let this go, people. Never going to let this unless they change it in the record books. No, I can't. I know you can't either. Anyway, moving on. After that match, they showed WCW main event on January 10th of that year. Rude, who was injured and unable to make the Thunder Cage match at the main event of the Clash, Harley Race held a one-on-one match where the winner of this pretty much a street fight rules match would replace Rude and team up with Vader, Barbarian, and Barry Windham. It was Cactus Jack versus Paul Orndorff, and pretty much this is where Cactus kind of solidified his babyface turn, because as Harley Race gets involved, all of a sudden here comes Vader. It's an onslaught. Orndorff gets the victory, and he will be in the main event on this evening. And Cactus Jack was just left taking a beat down, but this wouldn't be the last. Like I said, wouldn't be the last you see of Cactus Jack on this evening. That man will hold a grudge. Next match on the card, we had Brad Armstrong versus Chris Benoit. And again, I like this match only because of Benoit, because I liked what he was doing in this match. He was at this point, he's really trying to prove himself to stay on the roster. Remember, they mentioned that he teamed with Wellington the previous year in the tag team title tournament. So he's trying to be a mainstay at this point and show everybody he can do it. Did not disappoint during this match. He did miss his patented headbutt off the top rope, but Armstrong wasn't able to get enough momentum to continue during the match in his favor. Benoit then does a full Nelson suplex and a pin combination, gets the victory over Brad Armstrong.
They mentioned the dungeon too. Ventura mentions that he trained in Canada.
In the Hard Dungeon, yes. I like the fact that they mentioned that on both, because I mean it's there's nothing to me. There's nothing wrong with it, because if the man did train there, who cares if his son's wrestling in WWF? You can mention it. I got no problem with it. But yeah, graduate of the Hard Dungeon. So next on the docket, they showed a video package of the Rock and Roll Express, who are back together at this point, and in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and they will be appearing at Super Brawl 3.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
This is actually the first time that somebody from another territory would be wrestling. Not really. I mean, they've had the I guess, well, New Japan is not a territory; it's another organization. Yeah. But they've done the working with them. But as far as in the U.S. territory-wise, and they showed that the Rock and Roll Express were the tag team champions. They beat the Heavenly Bodies, Pritchard and Lane Ford. Yeah, I know it's not. Well, it wasn't Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. It was Stan Lane. But the Rock and Roll Express would be at Super Brawl 3. Next on there, we had an arm wrestling match. Now, this was kind of a redo from Jesse Ventura's tournament, because how he said Tony Atlas didn't get his due. Now, Tony Atlas replaced Heavy Metal Van Hammer
Samba
in this thing. Van Hammer was injured. Van Hammer would also be out of the main event.
Thank God.
Was he out? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? And then, of course, Vinny Vegas got a redo because Jesse didn't know he was left-handed.
Yeah,
Oh, forget about it. Oh, Vinny, I can't wait till you get with Sean in WWF.
almost.
Oh, it's almost there. So we get another arm wrestling match. This one didn't end in controversy. They actually had the arm wrestling showdown, and Vinny Vegas beats Tony Atlas. And then he's calling out Van Hammer for later on when Van Hammer does come back healthy or whatnot. Not something I'm actually looking forward to. And of course, I mean Jesse Ventura doing the tournament. It was fun, but
It was fun. I mean, it's silly, but whatever. It wasn't terrible.
No, we've seen some pretty bad ones.
Right. Yeah.
So next match on the card, we have Z-Man and Johnny Gunn, who had a lot of hype and talk up with this tag team as they faced the Wrecking Crew.
They were supposed to be like, I don't know, they were supposed to be like Playboys or something because they did a vignette. Remember, like I think it was the last Clash. I think they had that vignette. And it was
they were spending money.
He's another king. He's another king of tag teams. Him and Bagwell. Him and Marcus Bagwell.
Z-Man, yes.
Yeah, Z-Man, like the king of tag teams.
And of course, the Wrecking Crew. You got a Laurinaitis brother on this, Mark Laurinaitis in here. And this is the Wrecking Crew. They kind of. They hit that winning streak and then the bottom dropped out just as fast for them because they came into WCW around this time, had a pretty good momentum going at house shows, beating Johnny Gunn and Z-Man, and then in other teams as well. And then by the summer, they would just kick to the curb. So I mean, they had a good run and then it was done. Unfortunately, and they weren't bad. They were actually pretty decent to watch. This match was okay. They applied their finisher, the Wrecking Ball, on Johnny Gunn, and they got the pin. So they hype up Z-Man and Gunn, and for what? Just to be jobbers on the house show circuit with this tag team as well as on the Clash. But yeah, you're right. Z-Man, veteran with the tag teams, man. They didn't really know what to do with him, unfortunately, and it's sad. After that, Larry Zbyszko interviewed Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin as they have their tag team title match later on the evening.
Blondes, but not yet, not officially.
Not yet, unfortunately. But I was calling them the Hollywood Blondes. I'm watching it and I'm going doing that because I know it's coming. I loved it, and I remember Austin on the documentary like, "We're gonna put you in a tag team, but I don't want to be in a tag team." Then they break them up, but I want to be with Brian
because it was working. Yeah,
exactly, it was. It really, really was. And then Tony Schiavone interviewed Sting. Sting was joined by Rhodes and Ron Simmons, who will be partnering with him on this evening. Right now, the match, as of this moment, is a 4-on-3 handicap match with Van Hammer being out. But that's also going to change tonight. Then Larry Zbyszko interviewed Vader, Barbarian, Barry Windham, and Paul Orndorff, who are the 4 men for this evening, about their Thunder Cage match. Race fired Barbarian because he's an associate of Cactus Jack's. I love Barbarian.
Picked him up,
that cheesy little choke he did, and then he got his.
And they threw him a beating. That was the end of that.
And Barbarian's out of here. Now we're on a 3-on-3. These guys are eliminating themselves at this point. We're not going to have a match. And then they showed the highlights of the first 2 Super Brawls after that because on the horizon is Super Brawl 3. And then finally, Larry Zbyszko interviewed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Shane Douglas on their upcoming tag team title bout against Pillman and Austin. So that match is right now for the Unified Tag Team Championships, the NWA and WCW Tag Team titles. Shane Douglas and Ricky Steamboat versus Flying Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin. Or the future Hollywood Blondes. We can do that. It's fine. And this match I also really enjoyed.
No, it was a fun match. All great wrestlers.
It really was. Yes,
all great wrestlers.
And it just seemed like Pillman and Austin clicked almost instantly when they put them together. And for some reason, I thought the same about Steamboat and Douglas. I'm like, wow, these guys...
They worked well together.
Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't give them an actual tag team name and keep them around. It's just, by this point, tag teams, we're in 1 minute, out the next, unfortunately. And we've seen that throughout the last couple of years in WCW. During the match, now... You could tell that that Pillman and Austin were on their way to winning the tag titles, but not just yet. During the match, Austin grabbed the title belt and went into the ring. Douglas had rolled up Pillman, and Austin hit him with the belt, and the referee disqualified Pillman and Austin, and Steamboat and Douglas retained the titles. However, after the match, Pillman DDT'd Steamboat, and Douglas is busted open from the belt shot. Armstrong, Bagwell, and
Oh,
Scorpio all came down to help them. Like Austin and Pillman couldn't have whooped their asses. Not only did they leave the ring, but they took the titles with them.
mhm.
I like that cockiness
That was
of
good
that.
stuff. Yeah, that was good.
The next clash we do, they will be the tag team champions. No, not like it's a spoiler. Everybody
Mm,
knows in 1993 they're winning the titles. So following that match, right before the main event, they showed what happened on December 30th of 1992, where Vader beat Ron Simmons to recapture the heavyweight championship. Me personally, I
damn
would have
it.
liked to seen that on either the Clash or pay per view, not a house show or
Yeah, I
some
know.
weekend
They
skit that
used
they
to do
did.
stuff like that sometimes. I don't know, man.
Both organizations were doing this because remember,
Yeah,
we talked about
because
the whole Brett Flair thing
because the
and
idea
Diesel.
the idea is like to boost up the house show sales. Like, oh, people say, hey, you never know what could happen on a house show. The title might change hands. So I understand, but you know, it is
And
what
I
it
wish
is.
that happened to me all the times I went to Madison Square Garden on a house show
Yeah.
and never saw
No,
a title
I
change.
never saw any title changes on
Never
anything.
saw one. All disqualifications or
Yeah.
countouts. Never a title change. So, um, of course, then after that, Jesse Ventura interviewed Vader and Harley Race, and
Mm.
out comes in during the interview, out comes Ron Simmons, and they went at it. Simmons gets his hands on Harley Race. However,
You knew it was gonna happen.
yeah, because he was already injured and couldn't compete on
Hmm.
this night with his shoulder. That Vader splashed him and two shoulder breakers on the
Yeah.
injured shoulder. So now Ron Simmons is out of
Yep.
Thunder Cage. So at the moment we have a 3-on-2 handicap
Hmm.
match. But I mean, by the time Sting and Rhodes got down there, too late. Damage was already done. So that brings us to the main event, the Thunder Cage match. It was street fight rules, but tag team rules did apply, meaning you had to tag in your
Right.
opponent.
And
I
it was a
think
steel
that's
cage. In a steel cage.
and no disqualification. I think that's
Right.
ridiculous.
But how's it
Just
a
let
tag team? But how's it a
I
tag
don't.
team match if it's no DQ? Then you don't.
It,
Then you could just stay in the ring the whole time. You're not gonna get
exactly. There's no
disqualified.
5 count. No 5 count. I don't understand.
I don't
This,
know, man.
this is what I don't understand.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
They should have just let these guys get in there and beat the holy hell out of each
Yeah,
other.
I mean,
Because now it's Vader, Barry Windham, and Paul Orndorff at the moment
mhm.
versus Sting and
Sting
Dustin
and
Rhodes.
yeah, they were holding their own though. Sting and Dustin, you know.
Oh yeah, they really were. And what I liked is during the match, here comes Cactus Jack.
Hmm.
Now they have the door padlocked. He comes down with the bolt
That's
cutters.
it. Yeah.
Nobody in the ring is minding what he's doing. Like they're not looking back. Like what is he doing? He's just over there smiling, clipping bolts. He gets in the ring and just Sting and Dustin just watch him. Just
Right.
I'm gonna go start whooping somebody's ass.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, like I didn't just have a feud with you, but all right, no problem.
Well, he just,
He's
he had
got
enough.
he's got a different agenda,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's gunning for the world heavyweight champion. And Cactus Jack, now he evened everything up. The fans went nuts. This was officially, this moment is where Cactus now becomes a
yeah. Babyface.
baby
Yeah.
face, which I really did like. Orndorff had went for a pile driver on Rhodes. However, Cactus goes off the top rope with his boot.
With the boot, yeah.
I love that. He's using the boot.
I guess it was no DQ, right?
No, there was no disqualification
Right, yeah,
rules,
so-
street fight rules.
Yeah.
But you had to tag your
You
opponent.
got to tag your partner, but here, Mankind's
unless
not
it's
even
the
part
last-
of the team.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
he's in there like he's part of the team. Just
Well, the last 6 minutes, the rules were just the hell.
yeah, it was
with it.
chaos. It was actually fun though. This was actually
It really
fun.
was. I did
Yeah.
like the match. He hits Orndorff with his boot, and Cactus gets the pin on Orndorff, and Cactus, Sting, and Dustin Rhodes win the match. And then, of course, I know. After the match, Jim Ross interviewed Cactus Jack. Like I said, he's gunning for Orndorff, which he would be facing the Saturday on the TBS Saturday night, and he's gunning for Vader. And while they're doing their closing thing, he's climbing up the Thunder Cage, and Jesse's just looking at him like, "What are we going to do about him? You don't have to worry about Cactus. He can handle himself." But overall, this clash was very, very eventful, especially the main event. Unfortunately, Rude wasn't involved in it. Simmons wasn't involved in it. I think that kind of took away a little bit. But Cactus coming in and helping Sting and Dustin kind of made up for it.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun. I thought it was fine. It wasn't
For 1993, no,
Yeah.
because there's not many things in '93 you could say were good.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately.
All right, well, that's a review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.